Hello, my loves. It is Kate once again. I just wanted to drop in and say something about control because that's something that keeps popping up in my personal life. It's been something that I've had to work on, I think, I guess my entire life. And I've learned so much about it recently, and I thought I might share what I've learned in case it's helpful for anybody else. Control is so connected to fear, and I think that that might be obvious to some and maybe not so much to other people, or they may be able to see it on a surface level, but it's a little harder to see how it applies to you. Control, or the need to control, the feeling that you need to control your life. I mean, so often, you see people micromanaging their lives down to the nth degree, feeling like they have to make every single decision, everything has to be right. They have to control every little variable in their environment in order to feel good. But that's actually fear. And fear is pretty much the biggest barrier to everything you want in life. Fear is the biggest barrier to happiness, because when you live your life operated by fear, you're trying to control everything. And so you're coming from a place where you say, I don't want that, so I'm going to set everything up to make sure that that doesn't happen. But the problem is you're putting so much energy into focus into what you don't want. It's like that expression, worry is a prayer for what you don't want. I mean, very related there. When you fear something happening and you're so worried about it, you'll do everything you can to avoid it. But in doing so, you spend so much time, energy, and focus thinking about that thing you don't want to happen. You actually bring it into existence. And so it's really important when we're talking about your goals that you're driven by a desire to achieve something, to feel something, to experience something, not trying to avoid something. That's something I talk a lot with my members about. They're called avoidance goals versus approach-oriented goals. Approach-oriented goals would be, I want to feel amazing, so I'm going to exercise today, or something like that. And an avoidance goal would be, I don't want to be fat, so I'm going to exercise today. I mean, kind of a rudimentary example there, but hopefully to illustrate what I'm talking about. And I spent most of my life really trying to avoid things. Fear ruled my life to the point where I couldn't even really enjoy things because I was so worried about keeping everything going. Like I had, all these balls in the air that I was juggling, and if I dropped one, everything would just collapse. But what I realized is, like they say, where attention goes, energy flows. What I realized is I need to, instead of coming from a space of fear, I need to come from a space of excitement and leaning into the experiences I desire. Because that's what life is all about. It's not about avoiding the negative. I mean, even if you are successful in avoiding all negative, it's not going to be a joyful existence. I mean, maybe you'll say, whew, thank goodness that didn't happen. But then what? Nothing that you necessarily want to happen happens. So you want to point your compass toward what you want, and what you don't want will just not even come into your, field of vision. It won't even affect you. So I hope this makes sense, at least to some people out there, because it was a really big lesson for me. So now, instead, if every time, and I still find my brain going to, I don't want that, I'm worried about that, but you just flip it. It's the easiest thing you can do, just flip it. So number one, just realize you're not in full control. The only thing you're in control of is your reaction to things. You don't create outcomes. That's not how life works. The outcome is there, and then your control is how are you going to feel about it, how are you going to act, what are you going to say about it. And so when you want something, go for it. And you don't want something, don't worry about it. Find something else to think about. So just as an example, maybe I don't want to be alone. Okay, so you're trying to do everything you can to avoid being alone and being lonely. Well, what's the positive pull of that? Well, I want to feel connection, maybe. So seek out connection. Make that the focus. Whatever you're focused on, that's really going to be the experiences that you draw to you. And anytime you can ask yourself, what would be the most exciting thing I could do right now, or what would make me most happy? Try to lean in that direction, and try not to worry so much about the things you don't want to happen. You basically have to let the universe prove it to you. So I encourage you to just practice a little bit. Flip it. If you're like me, I'm a very plutonic individual, according to astrology, and fear has been a catalyst for transformation in my life. So it's very beneficial, and I'm grateful for it. But now I realize it's actually really an illusion. Fear isn't something that's happening in the now. It's either something that happened before in the past that you don't want to happen again, something that you're afraid will happen in the future. But as long as there's nothing really I need to worry about in this immediate moment, which there isn't, then I'm free to explore things I want to think about, things I want to do, what makes me feel good. Focus on that. And so I encourage you to try this if it at all speaks to you. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you.